Hi, Cancer Sun. Happy 2023. This is a Western astrological forecast for anyone born with the sun sign of Cancer. So that means that in any given year, if your birthday is between June 21st through July 22nd, this horoscope applies to the energetic placements as they relate to your sun sign. This is not a rising or an ascendant sign horoscope, so the rising sign changes about up to 4 times every 3 hours. So you need to know the exact time of birth and location and longitude and longitude. And if you're born in a high rise, were you born on the top floor, or were you born on the first floor? I mean, this all can change the rising sign. So that's not what I'm doing in this horoscope. The rising, also known as ascendant, does determine house placements, so I won't be talking about house placements in this horoscope, but I will be talking about how the planetary movements and transits in the atmosphere relate and interact with your sun, your sun sign. And so our sun in astrology, in Western astrology, basically is one's overall being. It's like your life force. It's also your ego, but it's really like your, just your life force, your overall being, and your ego. So that's the sun. Now the ego is just a small part of it, though. So don't write it off, And then the moon is more the subconscious, the emotional part of us, the intuitive part, maybe the part that's more aligned with our autonomic nervous system, that's a little more intuitive. So that's the moon. Today we are talking about the sun, your overall being. So let's start this forecast off on a positive note. So on January 26th until February 20th, Venus is in the sun sign of Pisces. So Venus is the planet of affection. It's the planet of love and affection. It's the planet of friendship. It's the planet that influences also aesthetics. And so, beauty around you, but it's not also just the superficial beauty, it's the inner beauty. And so that's what Venus symbolizes, the planet of Venus. And so when Venus is in Pisces, it is trine the Cancer sun. And so trine is a beautiful symbiotic relationship. It's just a transit that promotes harmony, ease, and it's just nice. It works together. It's a positive energy. So when transiting Venus is trine your sun, this is a really pleasant transit. It's not like anything intense, but it's good for working with others. It's good for working with anyone. If you want to be in a spirit of like camaraderie and togetherness. If you want to make a good impression, this is a nice transit to do that. If you want to make a good impression in a social situation. It's also just a nice transit that supports pleasant recreation, enjoying yourself. Personal and love relationships are favored. You might feel more relaxed and at ease in your relationships at this time. It's also a good day to, for redecorating and creative projects. So Cancer Sun, you will be experiencing this transit from January 26th until February 20th. Now, you can really enjoy the positive energy throughout the whole time, but for the trine aspect, where you'll be feeling the trine aspect more, Cancer decan 1, so that's any Cancer born between June 21st to about June 30th, you'll start to experience that trine energy early on, right around June 26th until early February. Cancer decan 2, so that's July 1st through July 11th. You'll be feeling this trine more strongly in early February, so February 1 to about February 10, and then Cancer decan 3, so that's July 11th until July 22nd. You'll be experiencing this lovely trine energy from around February 10th to 20th. Okay, and then also before this beautiful trine that you experience, there's also going to be a full moon on January 6th at 16 degrees of Cancer. So that's right smack dab in the middle of Cancer. So Cancer decan 1. You'll be experience maybe it is a pleasant transit when the moon is conjunct your sun. But when it's a full moon, there are also some other things going on, but when it's a full moon, that it can be a little intense. So Cancer decan 2, birthdays between July 1st through July 11th, you might be feeling this full moon a little bit, more strongly. Now, when the moon is conjunct your sun, so decan 2, it's going to be conjunct your sun when it's full. You do have a positive aspect that will be supportive. So when the moon is, I don't have it here, but I know it by heart anyway. When the moon is conjunct your sun, so your sun being your life force, your overall energy, and then the moon is, and also your consciousness and your ego, and then the moon is, it represents energetic energies. It represents the subconscious things that might be a little bit beyond our conscious awareness, but also things that are in our conscious awareness, how we're feeling, our emotions. And so that's what the moon rules. And actually the moon rules the sign of Cancer. Cancer is the sign that's most connected to the energies of the moon. So the full moon in Cancer is going to be a time where a lot of people might be feeling a little bit more emotionally charged, than usual, like if, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can be a lovely thing. And so when your sun is conjunct, the full moon, transiting full moon is conjunct your sun, you'll just feel more inner harmony. You feel more in sync, Other people might be having, emotional, having emotions and not like understanding what's going on or feeling confused or, conflicted. Cancer decan 2, even if there are tough things going on, you might kind of experience more of an understanding or an inner emotional understanding that brings you a little bit of more peace. So, but it's just good to be aware also though, during this full moon, well, the moon is obviously, the full moon is always opposite the sun. So the sun will be in about 16 degrees of Capricorn, but also Mercury will be retrograde exactly opposite the full moon and almost exactly opposite the full moon in 17 degrees of Capricorn. So this might also just be a time just to be aware, Mercury retrograde, Mercury opposite, transiting Mercury opposite transiting moon, opposite your sun, that might just be a good time just to be like aware of the possibility for misunderstandings in communication. And so it's not necessarily a bad time to talk. You might actually, with Mercury in retrograde, so retrograde is often about like going over things in the past. You might actually find that you have this like emotional need to tell someone, something that affected them emotionally in the past. You might, on a full moon, it might, you just don't say anything that you regret if you're upset about something. Just be aware of that. But being that you will have that harmonious conjunction though, chances are that you will be in a good place. And so manifest the energy of that moon conjunct your sun in a way where you're just experiencing understanding and, harness in on that peace, because that can be a very peaceful transit. And so just be aware that, don't be afraid. Sometimes, so Cancers are an incredibly intuitive sign, an emotionally in touch sign and strong sign. Sometimes though, if the emotions, if they're not happy with the emotions they're having, or not all, but we all have different defense mechanisms. But one of the defense mechanisms Cancers tend to use is that they tend to just harden their shell. Don't do that unless you really need to. Unless you need to, then do what you got to do. But if you can utilize the energy of this conjunction between the moon and your sun in a positive way, just be like understanding and gentle and loving towards yourself. Maybe if, with the full moon and Mercury in retrograde, maybe writing down things that are important to you if something's really on your mind, and then talking about it might be one of the best tips to just also be aware of that it's a full moon opposite Mercury in retrograde. Okay, so then we're moving on. What do we want to talk about next? All right, well, I've been avoiding it, but Pluto's still in Capricorn for most of 2023. So Pluto can be kind of a tough planet. It is the planet it symbolizes death and rebirth. Don't worry, that doesn't mean anyone's gonna die, but that's just what it symbolizes. Destruction and creation, sometimes, intense change, sometimes unexpected change, but oftentimes it's, in the long run, it's change for the better, but it brings about change in a way that isn't gentle. It also represents issues around power and control. It can be a time, if Pluto is in a tough spot, it can be a time where people experience issues around power and control. It also represents like big money. That's, Pluto, power and control, big money. So that's sort of the energy that Pluto kind of overrules. And in the sign of Capricorn, now Capricorn does have some great compatibilities with Cancer. So this isn't completely a bad thing, but it's not an easy transit. Okay, so Capricorn, when Pluto is in the really hard-working, persistent, pragmatic sign of Capricorn, this can create tension, more issues around power and control. So Pluto's been in the sign of Capricorn for at least 8 years. It has actually transited Capricorn entirely at least once. It's gone into Aquarius for a little while, then retrograded, went back into Capricorn. I believe it's in Capricorn right now. It's going to go into, let me look at the dates, not waste your time speculating. Okay, so Capricorn, yes, Pluto is in Capricorn right now. It goes retrograde and then goes into Aquarius while in retrograde. No, I'm sorry. Pluto's in Capricorn right now. It's moving forward into Aquarius on March 23rd. Okay, so Cancers, you might feel a little bit of relief, unless you're like on the last day of Cancer, but you'll feel a little relief. And then on May 1st, Pluto goes retrograde yet again, and it re-enters Capricorn on June 11th. So we do get a nice break between March 23rd. I'm sorry. We do get a break between March 23rd and June 11th, but it will be retrograding back into Capricorn on June 11th. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, okay? So Cancers, over the last several years with this transit, you've really been forced to like use your tough muscles. Like if you're not already a Cancer who's tough, Cancers can be very tough, even though they're an emotional water sign. They can be incredibly tough. Something about Cancer is that they can pull on this emotional strength and create like this level of determination. Like that no other sign can. So Cancers can be incredibly determined, kind of similar to their opposite sign of Capricorn. So during this time, Cancer, with Pluto ruling issues around power and control and being opposition to your sign, you've really been, forced in one way or another to stand up for yourself, to stand your ground, to not let anyone get away with messing with you, basically. Because if you don't stand up for yourself, who will? And we all have to learn to do that. And so Cancer, you've been really strengthening that ability over the past 7-8 years. So this last little visit in Capricorn, it's nothing you can't handle. Okay, in fact, you can use it as an opportunity. And so I'm going to explain how you can use it as an opportunity right now. When Pluto is in retrograde, that is a great time to revisit and revise. So during these past several years with Pluto and Capricorn, you've probably had to really stand up for yourself. Any contracts, whether they're legal or financial or occupational contracts, anything that you've established for yourself through your hard work and determination, or any agreements that you've made, or even like property that you've purchased, or even business plans that you've formed. This is just a great time to, protocols that you've formed, being, a tough, determined Cancer during this time. This is a good time to just go back and revise, review, go through things with a fine-tooth comb when Pluto is in retrograde, okay? Because Pluto is a planet about power and control. If you were dealing with any, unscrupulous personalities that, were trying to be overbearing or controlling, and you're working with anybody, if that was I'm just saying, if it was a possibility, it's not necessarily what happened, but if it were, while Pluto's in retrograde, you can go in and just examine everything, go through everything, make a pragmatic plan to address whatever it is. If you see any discrepancies or anything that needs to be clarified or taken care of, dot your I's, cross your T's, tie all your bows nice and tight. This is a great time to do that. And so Cancer, with how determined you are as a person, you've already established a lot over these past couple years, several years, but now's a good time to just go back, review, and revise. Cancer decan 1, so that's people born between July 11th through 22nd. This is really a great opportunity for you to do that. So, do that now. Well, Capricorn, Pluto's in Capricorn, but, if the original, plan or something wasn't quite as, the way you needed it to be, or as supportive of your goals, especially if you're taking care of people, you're not just taking care of yourself, then that retrograde is a great time, and just go back and revise. So again, those dates for the Pluto retrograde into Capricorn. So on May 1st, it starts the retrograde, and then June 11th, it enters into Capricorn. So really, you just take some time in early June, mid to late June, July, just to go over things, get all your ducks in a row. Okay, so that's advice for Cancer. And you really have, Cancers can be very, very, very tough and determined, and you've really had to tap into those strengths of yours in the past couple of years. But don't worry, there's a nice little respite between March 23rd to early June, and then Pluto moves on into Aquarius at the very beginning of 2024. And this is nothing, don't worry, this is nothing you haven't dealt with before, because Pluto has already transited the entire sign of Capricorn. You've already experienced this transit. You know what to do, okay? If you didn't know what to do before, now you do. Cancers have a great memory. Cancer sun and Cancer moon especially, but if something is of emotional importance to you, like even minutely, you will remember every single detail you need to remember. So just go back and take care of what you got to take care of. All right, so that's the advice for Pluto. And then on March, and this is actually a favorable aspect, on March 23rd, Saturn goes into Pisces. So Saturn, isn't the easiest planet. It is, Saturn represents like hard work, dealing with 3D reality, forcing people to be practical, pragmatic, to, create a schedule, to create a plan, to do a checklist, that's Saturn, right? But it brings about maturity. Saturn is also about prioritizing quality over quantity. So Saturn goes into Pisces on March 23rd. That's really actually forms a nice, beautiful trine. So for the rest of the year, there will be a nice trine to sun sign Cancer, especially Cancer decan 1. So that's Cancer's, excuse me, I think I might have caught my son's cold, but that's Cancer's from born from June 21st till about June 30th. You'll have this lovely trine. And so you might find that at this time, circumstances in your life and your own energies are working well together. This isn't necessarily like a lucky transit, but if you're working hard, if you're being pragmatic and practical, you'll find that things are running pretty smoothly. And take advantage of this to accomplish as much as you can. It is good. It's just a good time where the trine is a symbiotic energy, and so it's a good thing. It's a time when your hard work, organization, determination, pragmatism could be rewarded. Not with windfalls, but just you'll notice that things are working out. Hey, I've got a nice flow here with this schedule. Hey, you know what? My paycheck is covering all the bills, and I can actually, take this trip. If you are working hard, you'll notice things are just working out. More so during this trine. You might find also that you get recognition maybe for your hard work, for your diligence. And Cancer is, because you're so determined, when you want to be, you're incredibly diligent. So this is a nice trine to have with Saturn. And then March is full of a couple different things here. So in March, Mercury enters Pisces March 2nd, and that, let me see the dates of that. So Mercury is in Pisces, my little ephemeris I have here, from March 2nd until March 19th. And so there is a nice trine there with Mercury, planet of communication. So if you want to communicate anything that's important to you, because it's Mercury, the planet of communication, is trine your sun, your overall being. But it's a harmonious aspect. So if you want to communicate anything important to you, you'll find that you find ways to do that in ways that encourage cooperation, that encourage harmony. And so, you might find that you establish more symbiotic relationships through your communication during that time. And that's something to be aware of. And then March 25th through May 20th, Mars is in the sign of Cancer. So Mars transits into your sun sign on March 21st. So Mars conjunct your sun, you have higher physical energy than usual. And so that can be a great thing, but you have to learn how, it's important to channel it appropriately. So your energies will be higher, other things aligned. It's a nice time if you are in a if you're an adult, or you're in a healthy, safe relationship, it's a great time to use that energy as sexual energy, if that's something you're doing in your life. But it's also just a great time to work out more. It's a great time to just put your energy toward anything really that you're passionate about. So it can be a great time to organize the house. It can be, but just make sure that you're also using that physical energy, that you're getting out. If you don't work out, don't do heavy workouts, that maybe you're getting out for more walks at least, because you do want to balance that energy. Just be aware too, because Mars conjunct your sun, even though it can be used in a very positive way, it can also sort of increase like a likelihood to feel agitated, or if you have a temper, if that's your baseline, it's a great time to maybe start practicing mindfulness, or just exploring other ways to think about things or communicate things to it's a great time to maybe think about writing things before you say them, or just don't interact with people who upset you when Mars is conjunct your sun. If your baseline is to feel angry or agitated easily, because Mars conjunct your sun will increase this. And then, you know what? I might have Saturn. So I have one correction here. I don't have a fancy video editing system at this time, so I apologize. But one correction here: Saturn enters Pisces on March 7th, not March 23rd. I mixed that up. So on March 7th is when you will experience that nice trine between your sun and the sign of Saturn. So just correct that date. If you're writing the dates down, just correct that for yourself, just so that you know. And so this is really the gist of the major transits I wanted to cover for the annual Cancer Sun sign horoscope. And hopefully, if I do have a full-time job, I am a full-time parent, but astrology has been my passion. So I don't want to give away my age, but I started casting charts about 30 years ago for fun. It's been a huge part of my spiritual life and my personal life. Anybody who knows me, just, whether or not they believe in astrology themselves, they know that this is a passion of mine. And so this is an outlet for me. This is a fun, creative thing for me that I love to do. I do have to budget my time, but I'm hoping maybe, so we're in January right now, maybe by March, I'd like to start trying to do monthly sun sign horoscopes, or bi-monthly sun sign horoscopes, where I'm getting more into the detail. But I do want to do it pragmatically, and I want to do a good job. So be patient with me. But if you do like what I do and you'd like to see more, please feel free to support the channel in any way that you're comfortable. Subscribe or like, or however you do on YouTube. Now, some more important dates for Cancer, though I'm not going to bail out quite yet. In May, you have another thing to look forward to. Venus enters your sign on May 7th and is there until June 5th. So Venus, the planet of love, is in your sun sign May 7th to June 5th. So when Venus, the planet of love, is conjunct your sun, your overall being, your life force, those things of which you are more conscious, your ego energies. And well, that just is it's a wonderful time for socializing. If you are an introverted Cancer, you might find that you feel more like reaching out to your friends, and so do so. Take advantage of that energy starting on May 7th. There's also, I remember when I was looking at the dates, there is a nice window of opportunity. I don't know if I wrote it down. There's a nice period of time where both Mars Yes. Yes. So it's between May 7th and May 20th, where both Mars and Venus are in your sun sign of Cancer. So Mars and Venus are conjunct in the atmosphere in the sign of Cancer, and they're both conjunct your sun. And that can be, you know, again, if you are in a sexually active, safe relationship, that can be a great time for enjoying intimate energy. So that's the dates between Why don't I just write this down? Between May 7th and May 20th. Yep, between May 7th and May 20th of 2023. So if you are in a romantic relationship, enjoy it if you are sexually active, or if not, then just kiss more or you know, just enjoy. If you're not in a sexually active relationship, then just enjoy it by maybe going, you know, dancing around the house, you know, or decorating your house. It's just, there's increased physical energy, there's increased harmony and romance, and so use it well. Definitely go to the gym, and also be mindful, you know, of, you know, if you are in a relationship, how your partner feels about that increased energy. But it is definitely a great time to enjoy. So Cancer, that's what a Cancer sun, that's what I have for you. And I hope you enjoyed your 2023 forecasts, solar forecast. And hopefully I'll see you again by March at the very latest. Happy 2023, Cancer. Thanks for watching.